Can somebody explain that tweet? Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. I've actually deliberated on trying to. I was thinking to myself, do I really, really want to do this topic? Honestly, I did. I was thinking long and hard about doing this topic, and I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to actually do it. I wasn't sure because this is a interesting topic. But I made some changes. It's evolving. At first, I had it called just flat out illicit therapy without any kind of context, and then I decided to change this to something that was more appropriate to what I was doing, which is to highlight lo-fi behavior, poor behavior. And for the most part, nothing really changed on the front of like views or anything like that. So, not that I was really trying to get it to change, but I decided because of a lot of the stuff that's going on social media, we might as well just do something a little different. I mean, it was supposed to be RP content. And you can't really do RP content at the moment just due to how corporations are designed, which we'll get into. It has a lot to do with the subject. So, no intros. Let's go. Don't forget, though, that if you do like this content, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Illicit Therapy or Sir303, or you can go on YouTube and follow me there at Illicit Therapy. You can see all my content and these videos being archived. In addition, there is a TikTok that's called Illicit Therapy as well. You can definitely feel free to join and just subscribe to that as well. Whatever your preferred social media platform. All of that will be greatly appreciated. And once again, no intros. Let's go. Let's have some story time, man. Let's have some story time. This story time is actually has a lot to do with my trip that was in Vegas. I went to Las Vegas for a few days, and they do say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and that's very true. That's very true. I won't allude to anything that I've done or didn't do, so I ain't gonna say anything of that nature. But I will tell you what is happening within the world that's outside of your bubble. Especially when you leave things unadulterated. Yo, what is going on? I can't see who the fuck. Kerr and Jeremy, what's going on? We're going to take a trip to Vegas and explain to you what I actually saw, which is very interesting. It has a lot to do with today's, times that we're dealing with. It has a lot to do with that, truthfully. And it is very interesting. Now, what this title is, should sex work be legal? Why would I say something like that? Josh, did you do something in Vegas that has anything to do with this? Well, I'll never tell. But do I think it should be legal? I actually do. That's why it's going to take, it's very hard. It's very difficult to make topics like this because it kind of exposes just you as a person. Like I'm exposed, man. I'm open right now. I'm absolutely open. It's nerve-wracking to say this, but it's going to make it sound like I'm some sort of incel or a person that can't get sex. And believe me, I can. But or it's going to make me sound like I'm misogynist, I guess. That's the buzzwords that they have nowadays. But hear me out. I feel like this has a lot to do with how the world is actually functioning now. And I say let her rip. If people really want that kind of freedom, specifically females, because it really is a females game there. I say let them do it, but it will come with a consequence. It will come with a consequence. And before anyone comes at me saying, "Oh my gosh, you're such a pig, Jay, you're such a pig," well, just basically work with me here. Look, take a look at it. Let's say, like, hypothetically, they did allow for sex work, right? What would that do to OnlyFans? What would that do to all of the dating apps? Hinge, Tinder, Bumble. What would that do? Ask yourself that question. If they allowed for, had a website, as one of my friends stated, if it was this is not my idea, but he kind of put it out there. It was actually pretty interesting. If it was like Uber, right? Where you put in, you create a profile and you have to put in your driver's license and stuff like that. There, you put in your paperwork, you know what I mean by that, from the clinic, right? And the users would do the same. And when you click onto this person, it has all of the particular services. You can decide to do that. The services is completed and they get their money, right? If it was an actual legitimate system that could be taxable or whatever the hell you want to call it, what would you think would happen to all of the dating, the whole dating market? What do you think? I feel like that's not a question that people really ask in this day and age. So I see it as this. I see that it will actually put things into perspective when it comes to women knowing what their value is, in the dating market. I really do. As we already know, you have a lot of situations where women believe or perceive that they are a 10 because of their confidence, right? They also have the ability to completely transform their face based off of what social media kind of advertises. The lashes, the BBLs, right? You know what I mean? The leggings, all of that shit, where a woman could transform her body, her natural state, her body, and make it into whatever the advertisement, or at least something that resembles the advertisements, right? That they see online. But we all know we have to be politically correct here when it comes to this stuff. So if someone says that they're beautiful and they are not the typical beauty, let's say they don't have a healthy weight. A woman that is 5'5" should be around 110 pounds. Let's say that this girl is about 220 pounds, but she can wear clothes that resembles the model that is 110 pounds. I feel like the truth would actually come out. I honestly do. I feel like the truth would come out. Men are driven by, the deed. They're driven by that. They can't help themselves. They're absolutely driven by this. And we are in a society where we have to play nice. And we're also in a society where there are extremely inflated egos when it comes to women. Because, social media and corporations are telling women that they are absolutely perfect. Absolutely, positively perfect. And we have to abide by that. And a lot of men are desperate for either attention or the deed, right? They are absolutely desperate for it. And because women are told that they are 10s and 11s out of 10s, they don't want to talk to anybody unless they're perfect. So that leaves a lot of men without women. And they're going to settle for less to get any kind of attention, which means that they will like things on social media, like posts on social media for women that are below average, that are pretending to look like the above average women, the women that actually have those beauty standards that can be models. But a woman that ever watches or looks at this particular space, I want to ask you this. Do you really believe that you can go toe to toe with Beyonce, with Rihanna, with Meg Thee Stallion, with all of those women, if you are a 10? I want to ask you that. I honestly do. I want to ask you, do you believe that you can go toe to toe with this? If you can, why haven't you utilized this yet? Like they have. You have to be honest with yourself in terms of what you are able to do in the market and what you're able to get. And because men can't get nothing at all, they will really look for below average, because they definitely know they won't get a supermodel or an above average chick. And they'll get something that could be cleaned up or polished to be something average or slightly above average. So I'll get straight to the point when it comes to adult work, if that was legal. If all women, which you already saw an explosion of OnlyFans, right? Because women actually believe that they could take a crack out of it because they are empowered to say no to men. I don't want you. I want something better than this. I deserve better. When I go on social media, I get all these likes and I get the pick of the litter. We already know that dating websites are full of men and just a little bit of women. So they are overwhelmed with the stimuli that is attention, likes, anything like that. So they really perceive that they are better than you. But if there was a market where you could get what you want, so you can get a Kim Kardashian. Let's say you had the money, you had the actual guap, and you can actually muster up the money to spend $10,000 just for 1 hour with her, versus someone that's 220 pounds, have the fake eyelashes, can wear clothes that look like it, but is several size over normal, over a size 0. So the girl in that particular case will be considered clinically obese, right? But at least she has a pretty face. Would you pick a Kardashian for an hour for $10,000, or would you pick somebody that's a 4 for $5,000? If you already had the $10,000, you will. I can assure you, you will always go for the $10,000 if you had that money to spend. You would go for that. And I'm about to get into what I experienced in Vegas. But in this particular case, that will instantly let women know I'm not up there. I am not a 10, because I'm not getting the clientele that I thought I could get. I can't get that clientele. I can't get it. So I gotta lower my standards. And then they realize that 5,000 ain't gonna cut it either. I gotta lower my standards again because people ain't catching me. $1,000 won't get it. Then they'll lower it to 500. And realize they may have 1 or 2, but there's the clash of reality versus the delusion. And they're like, I don't understand why I can't get the women or the dudes that I want. I'm buying the perfume, I'm buying the clothes, I'm buying the eyelashes. I look like them. I learned their makeup techniques to make my cheekbones look like thin and stuff like that. I don't understand why I'm getting it. Well, because the guys would actually go for the real thing. Women will stop buying things, right? If it's not working, like with anybody else. You don't invest in things that don't work. And I believe truthfully that the corporations, dating websites, all of those things, they don't want you at all to do things like that, man. That's why we don't have legal adult work in most places. It's not legal because it will disrupt corporations. They are actively against it because they know, and this is a fact, that women consume the most out of everybody. And they consume the most out of impulse. Flashes of light and the illusion of just people just dropping at their feet. You know, a woman would look at a girl that's twerking online and think that, oh, they're getting attention for twerking, so I'm going to twerk. They'll see a girl with a big ass and they said, oh, I guess that's what guys like, so I'm going to get a big ass as well. Or even if they are lesbian, they will be like, well, That girl's getting all the actions. I want a piece of that action. Can't you see? Am I tripping here for believing that this will actually disrupt corporations if sex work was legal? The woman will actually see that there is a real price over their heads. And they can no longer default to the delusion of social media that everybody's a 10 and that you can buy the makeup and the clothes and automatically, regardless of what you look like, just because you bought the brand at an XL or whatever size that woman used, they won't be able to pull that off. The guys, if they can buy it, they will go automatically to the thing that is natural, that is realistic. I say that that work needs to be legal because it will fix a lot of the issues that are happening. The outright delusion in social media that is telling women that they are perfect and they can't settle for anything regular, even though they are regular themselves. It just gives them an inflated ego that nobody can top them. They really, truthfully, there's no malice out of this. They are essentially brainwashed to believe that they are 10s. I've heard situations where a woman will literally buy wigs and say that that's my hair. It's my hair because I bought it. That's their rationale for it. All of this is very interesting to me when it comes to looking at how social media is literally brainwashing a lot of people into believing things. I also believe, by the way, as a side note, that this will also correct dudes being simps. They will no longer need to beg and pretend that they like that particular girl just for a prospect of other women seeing him being nice to other women or to get a potential chance with that girl. And because her ego is so inflated, she'll be like, I'll take these fucking likes, I'll take this attention, but I still don't like you. You're not on my level, period. But if there's a monetary amount that a guy can go onto a adult website and be like, hey, she's worth 5,000 for a night, she's worth 500 for the night. Oh yeah, I don't need to, I'll cut to the chase, just like my intros. I'll cut directly to the chase. I don't need to do anything. I can be as awkward as I need to be, as I can be. I don't need to even learn how to Mac. I don't need to learn anything. I'll just buy and she'll do what I want her to do for this monetary value. Maybe people will be more social in this particular case. Maybe guys will learn to stop simping for people that don't like them. Maybe it'll actually teach women that they're not 10s when they are not 10s. And they will visibly see that that is the value that they have. You can put a price on your looks. And there's no amount of social media that could trick it. There's no amount of delusion that could trick it. Because that will put things on Front Street, put it on blast to show you that, hey, look, I cannot compete in that market. I am of a lower quality than the other woman that could charge $5,000 or $1,000. Now, let's go to what I discovered in Vegas. I noticed that in Vegas, I was at a hotel that was extremely expensive. And what I understood that when there were people gambling, these people were either in a relationship and they took their significant others to gamble. And this is majority. I'm sure there was, one-offs or whatever the case is. Or there were actual adult workers. And yes, it is illegal in Vegas. There's only a small amount of places in Vegas that is illegal. This was illegal. They will dress up. Not too much like, a whore, but enough that, it's so bad nowadays with social media because a lot of women want attention that what a adult worker or a prostitute would wear will be the equivalent of what you will see on Twitter or Instagram, truthfully. So I couldn't distinguish. I just thought that they thought it was cool to dress that way. Very, very skimpy clothes, dresses or skirts that were above mid-thigh. Their backs out and everything, right? They had all that shit. And they had a small little purse. All of them had little purses. And they would walk to the bar and they will dance to the music by themselves, right? Hoping that a guy would walk up to them. And when they did, which I made the mistake to go up to the girl, not knowing, I'm just thinking that that's all right, she's by herself. That's kind of strange. We started talking, and this was an intelligent girl, some of them with bachelor's degrees, which was very interesting. Bachelor's degrees, intelligent. AF. She told me, look, this is a really wonderful conversation, but I'm going to be honest with you. I am a lady of the night, and I am charging $500 a day. Starting. What do you want to do? Just like that. Just it was so blatant. I nearly fell up my fucking seat. I was like, maybe that's a one-off. I said, no, I'm sorry, no thank you. You know what I mean? But you're a very lovely woman. You know what I mean? You just keep your hustle. I didn't even judge or anything. She was like, oh, that's a shame. You know, have fun at the casino. And I walked my way. I saw another girl. And I noticed the pattern. They all had the small little purse, whether it be white or black or any others. It was different. They were all over. They were inside this casino. And I started looking, right? It was another woman. She told me, you know, hey, what do you think about this? I'm charging 500. For some reason, 500 was the number. And again, they were very educated. And she was like, you don't want to have some time? Why not? Why not? You know, you and your boy, you know, it's $500, you know, you can split it, whatever. What do you want to do? You know, I know it's boring just gambling all the time. I was like, what in God's name? What in the fuck? I was really baffled. I was baffled. I was absolutely baffled. It was something so bizarre to me where I come from. It wasn't that blatant. So, as I'm walking around in general, because I turned those down, a lot of the things, another girl walks up to me, and this girl was obese. She can hold her weight well, but she was fat, very fat. She was probably about 5'9", and she had to be about 260. And she was also a lady of the night. And she told me that she was bisexual, and she understands where these ladies of the night comes from when it comes to, you know, what they're doing in their hustle. She said she don't judge them. She says that also a lot of ladies of the night isn't just about sex. They understand that a man wants a connection. And I'm gonna put a pin in that conversation and say this. Once again, there's also a social media push that says that men just cares about sex and only. I don't know where this comes from, but it's more to it than that. We do care a lot about sex as a man, but it's way more than that. A lot of the times, if a guy can't form a connection, they don't really want to do it unless they just haven't had any or didn't have the experience, you know what I mean, of having a relationship. I mean, that's what I would believe, but that's what was going on. I don't know where this rhetoric came from, where men just we are just completely sex. That's all we care about. But that's what she says. She says that she understands that men want connections and they provide that for them for a price, you know, and, you know, you gotta be careful who you talk to. And I noticed that she was very shifty. She kept looking around and she saw the casino's security. And then she got the fuck up and she was like, let's come over here. So she went to one of the slot machines and told me to come with her. She pulled up a seat and she starts going. And she was like, yeah, I want to continue to talk. You know, do you want to talk or whatever the case is? I was like, I gotta find my boy because he's drunk as hell. I said, let me find him to see what he's going. And she was like, you ain't coming back, are you? You're not coming back. And she rolls her eyes. I was like, no, I am. She was like, okay, we'll take my number down. Like, I'm talking serious aggression. Serious aggression. Which kind of blew me away at how blatant it was. I can imagine if this shit was legal and how that shit would operate in towns, you know, just regular towns. Like, you just go to your local Target, you know what I mean? And they're just out there, you know, kind of like having like one of them food stands and stuff like that. And you just pay your money and take them home. It was so blatant and just so it was really crazy to me. So she peeped me to a lot of game. So I didn't really I couldn't see exactly what was going on until she kind of put it out there. That's when I started to realize, like, holy shit, this is so blatant. You see guys that were absolute dorks. I mean, pure geeks. With the thick ass glasses, skinny as hell, balding. Fucking with a girl that looked like they can be on Basketball Housewives and shit like that. It was so mixed matched, it wasn't even funny. And you know what it was. And a lot of these guys were actually be in marriages. And they were going on business trips that happened to be in Vegas, like I was. And they would fly out there. And they would pick these girls. It was white dudes picking like black ass, like, I mean, the girls look a bit ratchet. I'm not gonna lie to you. The long fingernails, the long eyelashes, and the BBLs and shit like that. Well, the fucking Bill Gates looking nigga. You know what I mean? Like, it was really crazy looking. And they would buy like $1,000 a day with these girls, and they would follow them around. But also, security knew about this, and when it came to security, they would kind of make everyone scatter. They would ask for the adult workers, like, information. Do you have ID? She'd be like, oh, okay, let me go get it. It's in the car. And then they would question the guy. And then everybody would split. The bar would just absolutely empty out. Give it about an hour. They all came back again with the same thing. They're dancing on top of each other. There's no guy in sight. They're talking to each other, and they're hoping that guys can go over there. Very interesting shit, honestly. We have become so far into like this confusion of roles, it's not even funny anymore. It's this sexual freedom that women strive to have isn't healthy. Just fucking everything, whether you're a man or a woman, isn't healthy. You know, that's supposed to be a gift for relationships. And we've moved so far into this progressive movement that women can't decipher what is a meaningful relationship. Actually, let me roll that back. They can't decipher what is being free and what they are being told or brainwashed into doing. I'm pretty sure that women wouldn't want to show their bodies. At least that's what they claim. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in this chat here. They say that they don't like guys, you know, kind of looking at them like a piece of meat. And they steady or removing clothing and posting it online. For whom, I don't know. And then when you question them about this, they say it's my freedom. I can do whatever I want. But at the same time, they don't want to be objectified, which is bizarre to me. And it's because the media, social media, told them that this was the means for you to get the attention that you seek. And you will get the attention that you seek. And it's your freedom. But they're slaves to attention. So absolute slaves to attention. They'll do anything for it. If sex work was legal, there will be no group of women saying that they are 10s when they're not 10s. Why? Because they won't get the money or the clientele that they believe that they should be getting. They wouldn't get that. They would have to be forced to be, they will be forced to see the truth. That they're not 10s. Maybe they're 5s. Maybe they're 3s. And no amount of makeup can correct it. They will have to humble themselves because they won't get the clientele. And they will instantly recognize that I am not a 10, that I am not in this class. Like I told you before, any women that are watching this or listening to this, ask yourself, if you're a 10, can you compete with a Kardashian or a Beyonce or a Rihanna? And if you can, do it. Go straight up to the modeling agencies and do it if you can. And that's not a sarcastic thing. I mean, I want you to understand that I think you need to know where you stand. Because if you can't say, if you can't compete with them, you can't say that you're a 10. You can't say it. And you can't have crazy demands that I want somebody that's a millionaire. And I want the hottest person, the hottest dude ever. You can't say that anymore because you will know that you're not in that range. You're not in that bracket that you can get whatever you want. Just like a guy. If a guy is Poindexter, skinny, or fat, he will never try to get somebody way. When I say never, it's a blanket statement. He will never try to get somebody way over his value. He won't unless he has so much money where he could just buy her. You know what I mean? Buy it outright. In terms of looks and the average person, they won't go up there. And I think that social media has brainwashed a lot of women to think that they were 10s. And they do this brainwashing to make sure that you continue to spend and buy the products that they tell you to buy so you can keep up with the Kardashians. Literally, they want to keep you consuming. And if sex work was legal, it would literally put you in place. Also, if men could just buy it, they won't be simping for chicks just to try to get their approval or get their attention and belittle themselves. Just knowing that the shit that they're saying is ridiculous, knowing that the things that they're doing is ridiculous. No more hot tub Twitch shit, no more OnlyFans. If you could just buy it, there would be no more simping for shit that they can never get because they could get it. I feel like it will correct a lot of this shit, but you know what? Corporations do not want this because it will stop the woman from buying shit because it wouldn't work anymore. They won't buy the shit because the shit that they buy won't make them into a higher bracket because the guys are buying the higher bracket. So I'm coming at it at that angle, not because I can't get anything. I'm coming at the angle that I think it needs to happen. Just like sometimes war needs to happen, just to correct shit. I mean, sometimes ugly things need to happen because we are too far. Guys are weak as hell. They are completely subservient, and women are delusional in this world. Neither are desirable, honestly. That's my take on it. So I've changed things up on this show that I do. I'm not going to do any kind of RP type things. It's just going to be story time. Whenever I get a story of my life, was the story of my life when I went to Vegas and saw all of this adult work. It was just a very interesting thing. I feel like I wanted to kind of share with everyone. I was like, wow. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I have a YouTube channel. It's on there too at Illicit Therapy. Look, I'm out. You know, I am first and foremost a gamer. Oh shit! Wait! I see you. Hold on. You requested, but I can't fucking. There we go. Hold on. I got somebody that want to say something. I'm sorry, man. I was in my bag. My baggie. What's going on, bro?
I was just gonna jump in and say, obviously, you said that obviously if sex workers was legal, then people would stop being simps and everything like that, and they'd stop, the OnlyFans and everything. But my one issue with what you said is the fact that people pay for OnlyFans, even though there is a plethora of free porn on the internet regardless, so the simping is still going to happen.
They pay for it because of the connection that they get. They get an actual stimulus by telling them or talking to them in general. Remember, like, for some reason, they say that they say in social media that men only want sex, and you know this for sure, is a lot deeper than just sex. There's really a connection. Even the prostitute that I spoke to before, she even stated that as well. It's $500 or $1,000, not because they just want to have sex. They are your girlfriends for that night. They talk to you. They're intelligent. The reason why guys are paying for OnlyFans is only due to the fact that they get a response. And that's why they do it. I don't know what kind of psychological thing is going on in their head, but I think they really believe that they can get the girl with enough attention or enough money.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, how is sex work being legal going to prevent that from continuing to happen?
Guys are still ruled by sex, though. I mean, yeah, we want connections, but we also want sex more. Like women want attention, we want sex. You
Because
know,
I'd say in modern day society, I'd say people are more interested in getting their end away than they are actually having a conversation or a connection with someone. They literally just want to stick the dick in something and be done with it. So again, how is sex work being legal going to prevent simps when simping has been happening for long before the internet?
yeah, but prostitution always seems to be illegal, so we really can't. I guess I'm gonna do some research too, and I'm gonna send it to you. In places where it's legal. I,
Well, that's the thing, you see, because in the UK, it's illegal to prostitute yourself, but it's legal to solicit yourself from your own home. So basically, escorting is legal.
as long as it's in their house.
Well, as long as you've gone through the reputable sources or you've done it through your own home, yeah.
Why is it illegal outside? That's kind of weird.
Because then that's classed as prostituting yourself, not soliciting yourself.
So that's fucking bizarre to me. I'm trying to grasp what you're telling me.
Like to sum up, in the UK there was a case about 30 years ago where there was a prostitute and she got arrested and sent down and all that lot because she was soliciting herself from her balcony, but because she wasn't inside her home and she wasn't registered, she was doing something illegal. But because if she had been inside her home and solicited herself that way, she'd have been fine. So again, there's aspects of sex work which is to this day still legal, and we still get sent.
Before you go on, because there's two people that are actually going to talk. Before you go on, I think, because how would she put her information out that she is an escort? That's the curious thing. Like, is it anyway? Core, what you guys say about this, and what you guys say about what Salty says?
I was basically just gonna co-sign what what he said. Because there's like a lot of avenues of sex work that's already legal, like the OnlyFans or strip clubs. There's all that stuff in the U.S. and people are able to go there and kind of get a connection, especially like at these gentlemen clubs. And they still simp, right? They end up simping for strippers. I don't think that's gonna solve any issue. And recently, I went to Argentina back in like June, and they have fully legalized sex work, like brothels on the street. You can see, union prostitutes, all that good stuff. And it's like very normalized within their like day to day. But I went to the clubs, I went out with people, and you still see the simps, right? They're still at the bar, like paying for all these drinks, trying to get some pussy, all that good stuff, and they have full legalized sex work, so it doesn't really change anything. I do agree that we should legalize it, just like in the sense that we should be like regulating more protections for sex workers, like on that kind of thing, but I don't think it's gonna necessarily it's gonna like somehow, I don't know, put women in their place or like have men less like not simp, because it's like if they legalize sex work, it's not like a chick that's like, oh, I'm a 10, or that believes they're a 10. They're not going out there to sell their pussy, right? Most women today, they say they're 10. It's like they're hard work and they're doing this, that, and the third. So they kind of carry themselves a certain way. So I still think we should go ahead and legalize it, but I don't think it's going to solve exactly what you're saying. But I do think there's some positives to that. So that was just my take.
And let me go to Coabra.
Sorry about that, I was in the middle of a fight. So here is the thing, sex work is legal in the Netherlands, but that still didn't stop simping and OnlyFans and all that stuff. People have to decide for themselves if they're gonna simp or not. We're not gonna be able to, get rid of that. That's on people themselves. It's your choice if you wanna be watching radio at OnlyFans or not. And just making sex legal in every country, it's not gonna stop what's called OnlyFans. It simply isn't. You experience stuff that happened to you, but that's a reality of things. We don't have control over it, what happened. And it's, the only thing that I would say that needed is be upfront about it. Don't wait until the competition gets good. Don't wait until you see that person is interested into you. If you're genuinely, not genuinely, if you're quote unquote job a sex worker, then say it up front. Let the people know so they decide if they want something like that or not. That's my only thing that I would say about it. Also, one other thing, this whole notion of rating women, that's not it. It's kind of demonizing. We grow up, or not we grow up. We are born how we are born. We don't dictate how we look. So to say a woman is a 10 or a woman is a 7, you would be surprised how many ladies choose to quote unquote date guys that are quote unquote beneath them. This whole stigma is fucked up, really. It's a girl. If it's for you, great. If it's not for you, so be it. Let it fly. And again, and mind you, this whole stigma of rating girls is not girls only, but girls rate boys as well. So both ends, it needs to stop.
I think that I think that in this world in general, everything is rated. That's not a bad thing to rate things. It's, you know, I don't think it's a demeaning thing. I feel like, well, everything is rated. Everything we haven't, you know, you in the gaming space, you get, you know, what is going to be unfair to rate a shitty game a 2 or a 3. Like, everything gets rated. You know what I mean? No matter how you feel about it, there's always going to be ratings to things. And you bring up an interesting point, and I wonder, I have a question to ask you guys before I close out here. It makes me think, right? I was really new to the game when I went to Vegas and seen this shit. I wonder if the reason why it's not as widespread is because I think it's not, the information is not readily available for a lot of people. Could that be the case?
What do you mean?
There's a lot of people, or at least I would think that there's a lot of people that don't know that you could buy it, and so they stick to.
Knows.
And well,
society have almost almost like brainwash people that tech work is a bad thing. So no, everyone and their mother knows that tech work exists. It's about whether you want it or not.
No, I mean like getting in trouble, and we know it exists, but like it's like a no-fly zone. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if it was, let's say it was legal, right? What would the stigma behind it be and the ramifications? Let me ask you this, Salty. Let me ask Salty really quickly. He has his hands up really quick.
Yeah, I was just going to add to the point of the rating. You know, rating people like from 1 to 10. I think what Karaba was maybe trying to get at was, just because that person over there rates me as a 4 doesn't mean I rate myself as a 4, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm a fucking 12, you know? So
well, you know what, Salty? You know what, Salty? Your hair is a 12, man, out of 10.
I'll take that, mate. I'll definitely take that. But yeah, so I think that when it comes to the rating system, anyone who gets up in the fields about, you know, someone saying, oh, well, you're a little bit below me, they just haven't got that confidence there. If they had that confidence there, they'd be like, yeah, all right then, whatever, go away, sure. You know? So it all comes down to
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was the last part of the point, that it comes down to a multitude of factors. You know, if people, like I said, if someone calls me a 4, that's fair enough. I'm clearly not their type. They're still going to be whatever number to me, but that's because they've got characteristics or they've got traits that I find attractive. But my own personal value isn't going to be affected by the way that they look at me, or how they feel about me, or how attractive they find me. My attraction, well, my level of confidence, basically, it don't even equate to what other people think. It's, I know I'm a good-looking bastard. I know I am good at what
Are
I
you
do.
sure about that?
Oh, yes, I'm very sure about
I'm joking.
So let me ask.
The issue is people, what's called, put too much stock into what other people think.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
pretty much the
makes
point
them-
I'm making.
Yeah. But not all of them. Some just are okay, can think for themselves. And we need to teach people to let them know that it's okay to be who you are. You don't need to listen to other people to dictate how your life should be.
So I mean, that's nice to know. Let me see here. So I got a question then for all of you. I'm gonna ask you guys in a row before I close it out here, right? What do you think? I'm gonna ask Core first, and then Salty, and then Coopera. What do you think is why? Okay, so why do you guys think that women rate themselves really fucking high to the point where they won't see anything past a certain level? Like they want like the upper echelon of guys, even though they may have a lot of issues. And what causes the simping? What's causing these two things to happen? Cora, what you gotta say about this?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really have an answer for that. I just think that so you know what? I'll say this, right? I just went to see Chris Rock on Friday, and he said it nicely, right? Jay-Z, if he worked at Burger King, right? Beyonce couldn't back him, right? But if Beyonce worked at Burger King, Jay-Z would still look at Beyonce and probably still wipe her or whatever. And I think the point he was trying to get at, I think is what you're getting at, is that like I think it's just like pussy runs the world kind of thing, right? No matter what, like at the end of the day, just like it's almost like a weakness for men, and I think like women are always going to be in a better position, and it might be just like from like our hunter-gatherer days. I don't really know. This is not like my field of study, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna really say.
What about women?
I don't think the thing is anything new.
It's not. It's not.
Anything new. I think this has been going on from like the BC eras, and like this is why so many wars were fought, and like all so much bullshit was happening. It was just over pussy, right? Pussy and money. So
why? Well, so let me ask you this. So why do you think women value themselves much higher than what other people perceive?
I mean, I don't know if it's just a woman thing. I think like everyone does that, right? Like you wanna, like, I feel like, I mean, if you're confident in yourself, right? You think highly of yourself, so it's like, I don't think it's necessarily that. Maybe it's like maybe it's the instances you run across. I'm not saying like for you in particular, but like men are running across, but I can't really say, to be honest.
And what about you, Salty? For the two questions that I asked you, that I asked for, what do you think? Why do you think that women overvalue themselves to the point where they turn everything down unless it's absolutely perfect? And why do you think men simp?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, that's very simple. It's a very simple answer, and it's called glamour magazines such as Vogue and everything like that, where women have been force-fed this image of what they should look like, what they should act like, how they should behave, what they should do, who they should be with. So that covers that first part of the question. As for why people simp, I think that's purely down to you see something in the person that you are simping over that you highly value and you highly covet, but you are unable to attain it. And so it just brings over this little, like, I don't even know the word to describe it, but this, like, fluffy feeling where you're like, oh my God, I must do everything I can to try and attain what they've got. And that's where I believe simping comes from. But as for the rating higher, like Kerr said, it's not just women that rate themselves higher. It's literally everyone. Everyone has a predetermined image of what they look like and what their eccentric value is. And that's the part that everyone needs to get over, because, as I've said, just because they see me as a certain value doesn't mean I do, and vice versa. And the amount of people that are out there, which, forgive my terminology, but they are just plain ugly bastards. And they've got some fucking right women on the fucking shoulder. You know what I mean? And it's all to do with confidence. They've got that and it's done. If we stopped all this glamour magazine bullshit, you know, with the contouring and the size 0 and size 00, unrealistic body standards is what's the problem. Because, again, you know, an obese woman, yeah, she might not be attractive to you, but there is someone out there who will find that quality attractive. So in your eyes, she might be a 2, but in that other person's eyes, she's a 15. You know, so again, it's all about what the individual person wants and what they want to get out of that feeling, that connection.
What about you, Quabber? What do you have to say about this?
Can you repeat the question? Because I was busy fighting a boss.
I'm about to get into it
Sorry
too.
about that.
Nope, I'm about to get into my gaming too, man. 4 days I haven't been playing shit. My question here is, why do you think women overvalue themselves to the point where they won't accept nothing but perfection, even though they're not? And then why do you think that simping exists?
Okay, so the first thing, actually, a lot of women are insecure about themselves, and I have met a lot of beautiful women that they thought they were not beautiful because they were comparing themselves to what's called their friend and stuff like that. And the thing is, everyone wants the best for himself. It's simple. When it goes wrong is when you're gonna villainize a person for his or her money. If you truly love a person, you're absolutely gonna look past what he or she makes. Because at the end of the day, money, yeah, it's gonna give you stability and stuff like that. But there are a lot of rich people that are not happy. Like, at the end of the day, yes, money brings you value, money brings you materials and stuff like that, but it doesn't bring you genuine happiness. You need connection for that. You need.
So let me ask you though. Let me ask you a little bit. Getting below off topic.
Just to add one more thing, and I think also times have changed. Like, just to also say that, like, back in the day, I feel like, you know, women were probably like more like approachable, like as you're saying, or, you know, the standards were less because they had less opportunity. So it's like you looked at like being for man as like kind of like your provider, kind of like stability, security. But now, like, we have women like with so many opportunities and like making as much money as like your male counterparts. It's like they don't have to settle for like a husband that's gonna come home and beat them and like do all that like wild shit anymore. Like, so I think overall,
I have seen. Well, I agree with you. I have also seen ladies lose fuck up an opportunity just because they think they can get someone better when that person was literally doing everything for them, and he was genuinely, like, he put them on their head in terms of respected them.
Put them on a pedestal.
Love, trust, and everything, faithful, until that wasn't enough.
So let me ask you. Okay, so just really quickly, right? What was your reason again for women, for their standards being high? What did you say it was?
Me?
Yeah.
Again, I said it. Every single person wants the best for himself. Like, for example.
Oh, got you. And let me ask you one more thing.
For example, when I am buying a toothbrush, I want to know which the best for me. I'm gonna look at the expensive one and see. Okay, so this is that. For example, when you buy a game, you're gonna buy the best game for you. You're not gonna settle with a game that's $5 when you can have a game that is $50. That's absolutely amazing. At the end of the day, every single person is selfish. Every single person wants the best for him or her, which is absolutely fine. However, where it goes wrong is when you have someone amazing and that's still not enough. You think you're gonna be able to get better, and I blame it on what's called the glamorization of movies. Movies, every single time the guy gets it, for the most part, of course some story doesn't, the guy gets to kill and they live happier and they're happy and this and that and the wedding is 10 grand and all that stuff. And then you think, you'll watch a movie, you're like, cool, I can't wait for me to have all that stuff. And then you meet someone that doesn't make that much of a lot of money, you're gonna think, oh, but I wanted that wedding, not knowing that this could be your chance at a happy family. And it doesn't need to be the guy rejecting the girl, it can be the girl rejecting the boy. It goes vice versa. It's just people need to learn to separate fiction from reality. If they can do that, then a lot of different things would change.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What do you think simping is coming from?
Simping has been along for the longest, dude.
Right.
Simping
No, I know
new.
this. I know this, but where do you think it originates from?
Okay, but here's the thing though. Simping is not only for guys. God does it as well. I hate to say it, it's just a way of life. It's like, again, I forgot who said it, but simping is basically the hope that you're gonna be able to have that person you're that after. Like, for example, if you have a crush on a person, are you not gonna do everything you can to make him or her happy? Are you not gonna do everything you can to make him or her feel special? That's simping, but we don't call it simping. We only call it simping when it's what's called when you can't reach that person, which basically in terms of most of the time it's either a sex worker or someone that's a celebrity. That's simping.
Core, what you say again?
But, sorry?
I was actually gonna agree with I agree with everything Kyle just said. Essentially, I think the definition. I think what was courting back in the day has been changed to simping because of just like I guess how the dating scene is right now. And it's just like lots of rejection or like how people feel and their sentiments towards things. So it's like as my boy was just saying, I think it's just really courting someone, and then it's just like people are courting and then they don't actually get to achieve it or whatever the case may be. So then it's now like simping. It's seen as something, but it's really just old school courting, I think.
So let me say this, right? So I'm gonna wrap it up, and you guys, look, Salty brings up a really, really good point, and you guys were kind of alluding to it too, but he just flat out said it. It's the glamorization. It's these glamour magazines and shit like that, which is giving people this false, this fantasy of being something that they're not, because they're publicizing it and advertising it as the thing that you should want. You should want it. You know what I mean? Kind of like Game Pass. But obviously, the situation is like this, right? Because guys would do almost anything for women.
And vice versa.
Well, let me say this: like the imbalance is coming from social media. It's making it harder for men to get.
It's coming from yourself.
No, I know, because I know that. And I know that. I'm gonna say this. I'm going to actually talk about this the next time I have the show, because you guys gave me a really good idea to talk about. Yes, it is to the individual person to have enough, willpower to resist the shit. You know what I'm saying? But since a lot of people probably don't even know what's happening, it's like so like low key to them. They don't even know they fell into the trap. You got a lot of women that's out there, and they're chasing this fantasy, and they really believe that they can get something better than the things that are in their face. And guys are having a hard time getting these women, so they'll do anything for them. So they're chasing a whole bunch of the carrot on the stick. It's the social media aspects. I'm gonna tell you something, right? This is an embarrassing story. But I was at the for myself, I was at the dentist, and I had a really, really good conversation with the girl, right? One of the receptionists. And at the time I was busy and I didn't want to, whatever the case is. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave a note and I'm going to send her some flowers, right? But two reasons. One, to halfway impress her. The other reason was to see if courting actually works in this day and age. And the answer is no, it doesn't. For at least this situation. She did not receive these flowers. Well, she received these flowers and didn't want anything to do with my interaction at all. That's the funny thing, right? So it's like you were saying, Kawaba, they have things in their face and they don't want it because either society or social media is telling them, hey, you can get better. You can always, they chase that. And like you said too, we are in a selfish society at this point. It really, it's extremely selfish.
One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't realize what they have until it's too late.
Yeah, and it's too, and a lot of this times, like I feel like, and as you said before, it's the willpower to resist what social media is programming people to really want or think to themselves that they should get. Because again, a lot of the shit is unobtainable. You know what I mean? It's just, you just can't do it. A lot of it is, it's not because of you. It's just, a lot of it is contradiction, and it goes against the nature of that person or of that gender. Women don't want soft men, period, point blank. They don't want a guy sobbing all over the place. But in these magazines, they say that they want a guy that's in touch with themselves because they were told. And you can even look at social media and there's buzzwords that women use nowadays because they read it somewhere. You know what I mean? And it's like guys on that hand are going to say whatever it takes to try to impress the girl, regardless of what logic is behind it, and it's because they can't get anyone. I can get girls easily. The problem is I'm vetting certain females. You know what I mean? Which I'll probably get into at another time, but that's what I'm like. I don't want just anybody, and I'm not looking for anything like this. Is not a physical attribute. What I'm looking for something that's, somebody that can resist a lot of the bombardment of bad behavior that we see and is condoned in society. I don't condone people twerking and doing all this crazy shit just for attention. I don't condone the simping. I don't condone any other shit. But society is saying that it's okay. I see it a lot of the times in the gaming space where, girls, I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, where the guy said some lewd things to a sex worker, and she was like...
You want about Centrelink and Highland Bunny?
Huh?
You want about what Centrelink sent to Highland Bunny?
No, I don't want that smoke. I'm gonna leave that alone. But it was just an interesting. It was an interesting thing. Like, you can't be this. You can't have it one way and the other at the same time. You know what I mean? You can't do sex work where you're opening your velvet innards on camera. And then when somebody says, "Let me stick something in there," you're like, "Oh, how dare you!" It doesn't make any sense logically.
I remember what you're talking about, but here's the difference. I absolutely remember what you're talking about, and I actually side with the lady. And here's the difference into why. Being a sex worker doesn't mean it's okay to what's called it doesn't mean there is always consent. If you're a sex worker, when you turn on the camera, you're a sex worker. When you turn off the camera, you're a lady. You're a husband, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a teenager, whatever it is. That's what you are. So, if someone, and this is what actually happened, goes on Twitter.
Oh, I read it. Quabber. I read the whole thing, and to be honest with you, what I read wasn't. It was nasty, but it wasn't disrespecting the person. Like, but what you're saying?
It was absolutely. Here's the thing, though. It was absolutely disrespectful, and here's why. She didn't give them consent. Like, if someone like consent is super important. Just because it's social media doesn't mean it's okay to say all that stuff.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. Hold on. Here's the thing, right? If I were to be a police officer, right, I can't turn that off because everybody knows of me being a police officer, and I know my own knowledge of being a police officer. So I would have to enter. As a matter of fact, I believe the same thing that happened in Texas with the kids. It was an off-duty cop that ended that situation, not the cops themselves. If you put yourself in that line of business, then there's certain things to be, expected. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but there's certain things to be expected, and that's all I'm saying about that. You're going to encounter it, but don't act like, oh, I can't believe this is happening.
But she doesn't, I've seen her, she doesn't, what's called, advertise her OnlyFans. It's not even in her bio.
Actually, it is. I screenshotted it. It is.
Show me, please, because I remember seeing it, it's not in her bio.
But what ended up happening, she ended up, she what is it, protected her tweets. And you have to be, when you are invited, then you see what her bio is. I don't know when that happened. I don't know when
her bio. So, this dude, he has, mind you, he hasn't paid her, right?
Say again? Oh, he haven't paid her.
He hasn't paid her. So, this is a sex worker. He came into her, he wanted something from her without paying for her. If he said, here's $5, she would have said, okay, what do you want? Then he would have said what he said. Then it would have been fine. Because, again, it's her job to do what she's doing.
So let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you this, right? If you're going to talk about disrespect, right? I have never seen you ever in person, right? What if I sent you a message and say, I can't stand you, you ugly piece of shit? What would you do?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Huh?
Can you repeat that? I have bad hearing. Sorry about that.
No problems. If I were to send you a message, I don't know you, I don't know what you look like, right? If I were to send you a message and say, I can't stand you, you're an ugly piece of shit. If I DM'd you that, what would you do?
Close it and move on. It's not that big of a deal.
That's all I'm saying. We're like...
No, but the difference is you didn't what's called and started to talk about me in a private conversation.
No, but if it was a private, if I DM'd you that.
No, what I'm trying to say, the difference of it, though, I'm gonna be here vulgar for a bit. There's a difference between saying you are ugly versus saying I want to fuck your pussy or something like that. Like saying you, okay, maybe I'm different.
Okay, so say I come into your DMs and say I want to split your asshole like a Kit Kat.
Because to me,
Why? No, please answer the question. I want to know. Let's say I wanted you, and I went into your DMs and was like, yo, let me just bite your ass cheek, right? What would you do?
Okay, so everything, I would, but it never happened to me, but I would genuinely clown you. I would absolutely clown you.
I mean, what I'd say is left cheek or right cheek.
I know you would say that, you perv.
Here's the thing. What I felt, I don't want other people to feel. So I'm gonna put it in the open so people can see how people react, how people are acting.
Honestly, Quabber, honestly, like if I was just some like random, like you never interacted with me before, right? And I said some shit like that to you, right? I honestly don't buy it. I don't think that you would freak out. I think that you would be like, what? Look what this dude. I don't think that you would run the social, like open it up and try to get, some sort of validation, whatever. I think you would probably show your people.
Here's the thing, though. This is not about validation. This is about consequence.
I know. I understand what you're saying. The situation is this, because she could have easily reported it and blocked them and moved on with your day. But what ended up happening is like, look at how much of a victim I am. Look, I'm so disgusted. That's what I saw.
Okay, we know if this was a one-time only, or he or someone else has been doing this for the longest, and she made a choice to put him in the open.
I mean, look, but I don't know if this was. But here's the thing. I said this before. All I'm saying is, as an adult, right? And I feel like that falls into the line of simping, the reaction of dudes with the situation. Because if it happens to a dude, and I'm gonna promise you, for me, I get DMs, unwanted DMs. Nobody knows it though. I promise you that shit. You know why? You block it and you move the fuck on from me. I get them. You know what I'm saying? But I also brought it upon myself to have a shirtless fucking picture in my profile. So there's that, which is one of the reasons why it's different. So I brought that upon myself. Okay, so if somebody was robbing you, and if I was an off-duty cop and you knew I was a cop, right? And you're like, help, somebody help me. He's just stealing my stuff. Oh, nope, I'm off the clock, buddy. You're gonna have to call 911. Oops. Like, you put yourself in a line of business that you're gonna get that. To me, I know it sounds insensitive to say that, and I know she received it as being disrespectful, but at the end of the day, it was something where it could have been a block in a report. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even her. It's about the reaction. As a grown person, you're supposed to kind of know, oh my God, you should have saw the worship with this girl. Oh, I'm so sorry you had this.
Which I genuinely believe of Twitch. And this is not me changing the subject, this is just me explaining how things work. And she was touched, genuinely touched, without her consent. She didn't clown the person, she didn't, made a scene out of it. You know why? Because she didn't want other people to ruin other people's day. And she said it in that, tweet.
But she did it anyway. I saw this interaction because I saw people retweeting it over and over. She ended up doing it, ruining my day. Salty, what you gotta say about this?
Yeah, when it comes to like any OnlyFans girl on Twitter, right? For like the example, the one that we are talking about. The only reason I feel it was disrespectful to DM her on Twitter is purely because she's got that platform of OnlyFans where all these simps should be DMing her, where they've got that privilege to DM her because they have paid for the service. Mm-hmm. Whereas her Twitter account, it's not purely to advertise her OnlyFans. She does fundraisers, she does gaming a lot and stuff like that. So the disrespect comes from the fact that he's seen the OnlyFans and then completely disregarded everything else that she does on her page. If he wanted to do what he did, he should have subbed to her OnlyFans and DM'd her on the site.
Yeah, but it's not free.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with it. That would be the difference. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna leave it here, right? Because I want a game. Shit. So.
You know what, dude? Did you absolutely think you're gonna start World War III and think you're gonna be able to game? Like that's what you're talking about. You're lucky you don't have a lot of people here, because it would have been chaos. And Genuinely, I would love to hear what Tom thinks about this entire conversation because she's the only lady in here and we're all dudes in here and we're basically speaking.
I'm sorry.
Not
Did you
in a negative way, we're still talking about ladies.
Wait, hold on. Did you just wait a minute?
assume my gender?
Did you just assume her gender? No, but here's the thing. Stone is a very she's a person that it's matter of fact, and she's extremely logical. She's a logical person. So there's a lot of stuff that me and Stone had a conversation with, right? And she understands her point, and she understands other people's point too. And she doesn't look at it in such a way where it's like, no, I mean, we don't always agree. You know what I mean? But there's a respectful discourse to it where it's not like, oh, you're wrong. It's like a I agree to disagree situation. So I've spoken to her before, and that's what it is. I'm sure she sees where I'm kind of coming from. You know, I feel like I make my points valid, you know, and you're absolutely right. But the thing is, the girl that this was, she could have been like, look, I have a platform and you're doing this on my public platform instead of going directly to me on OnlyFans. No, bitch, you pay for it.
Can you see the other side of it?
No, I absolutely see. I absolutely.
She wants to make an example of one so that no more.
Not only that, we don't know how many DMs like that you get per day. Like, I'm pretty sure this is not the very first time that she received a DM like that.
And I get it. So, I get it. But the thing is, I'm not disputing how she felt about it or how many DMs. It was what she said that I'm disputing. This wasn't about making other people feel comfortable. If she wanted somebody to be routed to the OnlyFans thing, then she should have blatantly said that shit. It's disrespectful for you to DM me personally. I'm not at work. Like, if somebody calls me up, right? Like, my friends know where I work at. If they call me up, hey, I got a problem with this, and this, bitch, you call the job. Don't call me on my day off. I'm not working. But that's what she could have said. She made it as if she was so, like, violated when she would have gotten it. Let's flip it. Let's say it was on OnlyFans, right? And he messaged that. Is she going to be mad there?
No, because
but that's not what she said. She said he was a vile human being. That's what she said. But here's the thing. Well, hear me out. But hear me out. If he were to have gone through the channels of OnlyFans, all of a sudden it doesn't matter because it's the channel. I don't like the
because he paid her money, right? Then it's her job to actually restock. If he paid her money and okay, so restock, I don't know how sales works in OnlyFans, but if I remember correctly, if you contribute money, you get to have a DM conversation, and it depends. If you pay a lot of money, you can get requests. You can ask for a request, and the person will accept it or doesn't. So it's then about how much money he paid and if she wanna accept that request or not. So then the proper way to, even if he was what's called in OnlyFans, the proper way would have been to say, okay, so I am tier 5 sub or something, or tier 20 sub, and I have request. Would you like to hear it? That's the proper way to do business. Not to.
But I feel like you're avoiding what I'm. But I feel like you're avoiding what I'm saying.
What do you think?
If he wrote that, and I don't know how OnlyFans work really either, but if he wrote that, if there's a messaging system and he wrote that, hey, I'll pay you X amount of dollars if you let me do the following.
Yeah, so that is already a conversation between what's called her at her job. Then absolutely no issue with that. Mind you, he said, I pay you to do if you want to do this or that. He didn't start with that. And again, where she was, platform-wise matters.
So look, wait, hold on. I got a conversation. I got a comment, a response from Stone. Now, I feel like this pretty much ended it because this is a woman, and you got your wish in terms of what she says. She says the biggest problem is the community picks and chooses what to be outraged about. It got more traction because she had a huge following. It has nothing to do with OnlyFans. It's because she had 12,000 followers. That's coming from Stone, a fellow female.
Okay, do you want to know the real issue that happened with it? And believe me, you're gonna not believe it. You're crazy as it's gonna sound. It's control related.
Really?
You're absolutely not gonna believe it, but it's absolutely control related. Because after it happened, what happened? Every single was called Xbox person was like, you see how PlayStation fans act and stuff like that? That's basically how it is. When it comes to what's called, that is the consequences of it. However, what he did is absolutely not okay. It's all about the platform. And I agree with Stone. They should and pick all the time. Heck, again, I said it. We don't know how many times she has received at the end to the point where she's like, okay, fuck it. Now I'm done with this shit and I'm gonna make an example out of him. And this doesn't just happen what's called on Twitter. It happened in real life.
She says some more stuff. She says some more stuff as well. She says it is console war related. She says consoles and our huge following combined makes the perfect storm. Calling, no. I get it. Hold on. I get it. So here's the thing that is interesting to me, because what I'm hearing from other people in the gaming community, they went out and ostracized the dude and called him all sorts of names, which, you know, depending on who you speak to, is warranted, right? But what was the real outrage is the question, because there's, again,
okay.
Well, hold on, I'm not done. She says because the same people who were outraged about this have called her a trans man before.
What have they called her? Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Huh?
I couldn't hear the last.
They called her a trans man before.
A trans?
Yes.
Okay, she's a trans person. I had no idea it was okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You had no idea what this was happening because she did it. She did the mature thing and she kept the shit moving. This, to me, it was making an example out of somebody for some sort of. Well, but why are the people in the community acting like Simpson? Like I implore you. Maybe not you. You seem like a wholesome person, but there's been a lot of secret shit that's been going on, and I know some shit that's going on. You will never know it either. There's some things on the back end of things that I know about.
What do you mean? No, I'm lost.
So I'm gonna explain it. There are some people that pretend to be holier than thou, and they do some ugly shit behind the scenes. But that's my problem. This is what she was saying. You pick and choose what you want to be outraged about, and then you run out and you use someone else's failure or someone else's like dirty laundry to exalt yourself, to make it look like you're better than those people. Flip the script. If somebody exposed these people, I promise you, it won't be a good look for these people that you speak to every day. I know it. I've seen it. That's what makes me, I don't like hypocrites. I don't like the...
1,000% with you on that one. I absolutely hate hypocrites. I absolutely do. I am 10,000% with you on that one.
I just don't like it. I don't like it. Who said something? Who else said?
I feel you. I genuinely understand where you're coming from.
You can even see like the remnants of the person's personality within the tweets. You know what I mean? Like for one side, right? This is a female saying this, by the way. This female was so hold on. This female was so pro LGBT. She was pro LGBT. And she's in the gaming community now. She would say, "Oh, you guys are treating this guy like this because he's gay, and how could you?" and stuff like that. This same chick turned around and used the LGBT to insult a straight guy. So which one is it? You know what I mean? And the same people that congratulated her on, condemning people that talk bad about LGBT was the same people cheering her on when she said that they were basically in a gay orgy in some of these spaces. You literally using like LGBT rhetoric as an insult for straight guys, but then the gaming community is so like it's trash. And what Stone said is absolutely like it's the outrage for me. It's the fake outrage for me. Like I get that she was, sickened, supposedly sickened by it, right? But at the same time, she used this shit as a publicity stunt. That's what it looked like to me, or to get some attention. Because Stone deals with a lot of shit every day, and you guys don't know about it. I deal with a lot of shit every day, and you guys don't know about it.
I don't know about it, but I know that he deals with all the shit every day because she's a lady, and ladies deal with it almost every day. So I'm not surprised about that.
She handles it. Yeah, go on.
I have two questions for you. So again, it's very difficult to believe what I'm about to say. Are you aware that this situation has two layers to it? It has the first layer, which is control war related, and it has the second layer where it's also control war related, but in the matter of, okay, so what happened? The story goes as follows. The PlayStation dude that got caught sending dick pics to ladies without their consent.
Oh, that one, yeah.
And people called him out on it. People really liked the bullet and all that jazz. And then there was something else, but was an Xbox dude, and he or she did a lot of stuff, and they got called up on it. So the reason why you guys see this blow up is because people expect other people to call out on it to quote unquote be equal. Because they think if it's a PlayStation dude, then PlayStation fans are going to defend him. Or if it's an Xbox dude, then Xbox fans are going to defend him, and vice versa. So, because of the whole notion of that one PlayStation, one is Xbox, you're going to quote unquote expect people to call this shit out. Because if they don't, then you're going to target them and say, see, look, he's okay with this because he's a PlayStation dude, or he's gonna go easy on him or her or whatsoever. So at the end of the day, it was a targeted attack from her, and not attack was it was a statement from her to put him in the open too.
And I'm right, but this was as you said, it was calculated for sure.
If anyone wanna think that she's innocent, she's absolutely innocent when it comes to this entire conversation. However, she is not innocent because she should to quote unquote put it in the open, because I am pretty sure other people have gotten what's called. She has gotten from other people, and she just doesn't put it open. It's because she called it a day, a move on, which like what you say. But at some point, you're gonna be sick of it, and you're gonna want to make an example out of a person, and he was that example.
And just to let you know, like, it's not about who's right or who's wrong. And the actual, for the parties involved, it's really just hypocrisy. That's all I come at. If you're going to be holier than thou, I better not find no blemish on your record. If you're gonna pull that stunt, I bet I find a motherfucking thing. She can feel however way she want to feel like, and the guy can feel like however way he want to feel like. And I respect that he doubled down on the bitch too. Like he was like, yeah, I did it. Because a lot of people would try to run around and say, oh, I'm so sorry, and that wasn't me from a different time, and I learned.
Because he didn't think what he'd done was wrong. That's why he doubled down.
I mean,
But this is different though. This is the same person that would beat the fuck out of you if you said it to his daughter or girlfriend or whatsoever.
The world is strange like that, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like it's so weird.
This is what the hypocrisy is gonna be always there. It's just a matter of you accept. So it's
all about context. Is really what this boils down to, which is ridiculous. But listen, you guys have made this. No, this was never supposed to be like a gaming portion. This is just like my.
No, I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah, you damn right. I'm trying to get back to game. You damn right. I've been speaking.
Why the fuck did you start World War III? Let me know.
I didn't think it was gonna be World War III. I don't know, but.
Fuck off. You genuinely thought you were gonna start a World War III and think that people gonna, have a 5-minute conversation about it.
I did. Okay. Look, Robert, I really honestly thought it was gonna be a 5-minute conversation. Well, boy, was I hopeful. I was delusional as fuck. I was hopeful. I was like, this is gonna be 5 minutes. Let me just throw this in there really quickly and prove my point begin, and we just end it. No, that didn't. No. You was like, stop. You was like, pump them brakes. Hell no, we throwing that back.
See, you probably could have been done in 5 minutes if you didn't invite speakers up.
I'm talking about, this is true. No, I
would have called them because he wanted to have a space and not let people talk. It would be weird. I'm joking.
So typically, though, typically because of the whole simp nature, people don't like talking about conversations like this because they don't want to be put in a particular light or put on spot. And I commemorate you guys for literally just kind of being out there and be like, yo, I want to say my piece. And you guys were extremely respectful across the board. Like, all across the board, you guys were respectful. You're respectful of me. Hopefully, I was respectful of you guys. It wasn't really arguments. It was just basically just a conversation. And
I just hope that I get a lot of appreciation for how moderate I kept it, considering I am one of the crudest motherfuckers on this app.
I read between your lines, though.
Because of all the people think it's difficult to have a genuine conversation. And they think that shit is aeons and don't exist anymore. But you can genuinely disagree with a person and just have a conversation. It's called being an adult. A lot of people don't know about.
Flat out, it's called being an adult. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, people can shoot tweets all over the place. They can shoot tweets all over the place, right? And be nasty as they want to. But when you put them in a space where they have to actually interact, they can't do that. They're the most respectful people. Oh, please, let me raise my hand and I'll talk when spoken to. But yeah, on Twitter, you're like, motherfucker, so it's funny. It's all funny across the board, for real. But yeah, I am going to go back to the game. And look, I really, you guys made this shit absolutely hyped. You guys really set it off. Extra shout out for, thank you. What do you call it? Stone, shout out to Stone. For being just the logical, wonderful woman that you are.
Shout out to Stone for being the rock of the gaming community.
She is, though. She is with a little bit of toxicity. I like that. She always finds her way into the most interesting spaces. And Quabra, I know you're leaving. Thanks a lot. Core, thank you so much for joining in. You were at the start with this. Salty, I'm gonna try to make some more spaces that is like, this won't be story time. I think this is a good space to use it.
Space, man. I've enjoyed the talk.
Not a problem. Well, listen, you guys take care. I really appreciate it.
You too, man. Take care.